So today is a Lisa Eldridge brand new release. I've got 4 of the new liquid silk liquid eyeshadows from Lisa, and I've got the new Fawn eyeshadow palette. I've got swatches of all of these to show you. I've also got comparisons I'll be making for you. I'm going to try all of the liquid silk on so you can see how they look, and then do a final look using one of these as a base and the eyeshadow with a full look, so we can see exactly how these look together. And I cannot wait to get stuck in because Lisa Eldridge is one of my all-time favourite brands. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm 47. I'm not a professional, just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty. And here on my channel, I review lots of the latest products and I show you some of my favourite looks and chat about any beauty news I think you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this sort of content, I would appreciate it so much if you liked and subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss my next video. I upload at least twice a week, if not more, here on my channel. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back and thank you so very much. I appreciate every single one of you very, very much. I really do. And my skin tone, if that's helpful with these colours, I've got fair to light skin with neutral undertones. Anyway, let's get on with this video. So I'm going to start by looking at the liquid silk eyeshadows. I've picked up 4 of these. There was just one I left out, and that was Thalia, which is a deep rosewood, which I felt was a little bit too deep for my complexion, plus it leans a little bit reddish and that doesn't tend to suit me so much. But apart from that, I've picked up all 4 shades. Each one of these costs £26 and they're described as lid smoothing soft focus matte liquid eyeshadow in nuanced natural shades for an elevated eye in seconds. The ultimate luxury one and done liquid eyeshadow in a lid smoothing soft focus matte finish and a silky hydrating texture. So before I start looking at these, let's show you my swatch video which I took this morning. So here that is. So I've kept those swatches on the back of my hand because I thought they'd be quite interesting for me to sort of reference to during this application. So just going back over them again, the first one I did in that video was Gaia. So this is a golden brown, and Gaia is named after one of the goddesses, the goddess of the earth. And then this one here is Phoebe, described as a warm light camel. You can see how it really looks very different once it's been rubbed out, or smoothed out rather. So you can definitely get a lot of different shades from this depending on how you apply it. And Phoebe is named after the goddess of bright intellect. This is the shade that I think will probably be my best base shade. So that's the one I will use today as my base and then go in with the eyeshadow palette. The other one possibly that could work would be this, but I think for my skin tone, this one is the lightest you can see to use for a base. And then we have Ione. This one is described as a cool mauve grey. Beautiful colour actually. And Ione is a water nymph. All of these names are coming from the Grecian myths and goddesses that Lisa, I think, has a real passion for, which is something I totally relate to. I'm a history student myself, and actually my final year in my degree was studying myths and legends, so the Greek gods and goddesses were very much the theme of my entire last year, so I love that these are linked to those names, I really do. Then we have Irene, described as a neutral peachy beige and named after the goddess of peace. And the one missing from my collection, Thalia, is a deep rosewood, and Thalia means flourishing, one of the muses presiding over comedy and poetry, so she's an actress, so that is the inspiration behind Thalia. So I'll just do a few comparisons of these, and 2 that I thought about straight away are these ones from Armani, the eye tints. Now these are absolute staples in my collection. I've got Cashew and I've got Camel, so I'm wondering if either of these will be similar in any way, so I'm just going to swatch these for you. So I'm going to start with the Armani in Cashew. And I will rub it out as I have done with the others. So there is Armani in Cashew. So I think the one this would, I don't know actually. I don't think it's an exact match for any of them, is it? It is slightly different. I'm not going to say it's a match for any. You can decide for yourself if you think it's in any way similar. I mean, it's not a mile away from them, but it's different, which is good because it's good to have something different in the collection. And then I've got number 20, the Camel. So here is 20 Camel in the Armani. And if you compare that to the Camel here in the Lisa Eldridge, so this is how it looks blended and this is how the Lisa Eldridge looks. So it does look a little bit more warm and peachy, the Camel from Armani. The one from Lisa definitely is looking a little bit more cool, I'd say. So again, they're not a complete match. I've also got Carve here from Hindash. This is one you can use as a bronzer and all sorts of things, but you can certainly use it on the eyes, which is what I've used it most for. So I just wanted to compare the shade of this to see if there's a match. So here we have Hindash. So this one is not a million miles away from this when it's blended out. This one is Gaia, the golden brown, and this is Hindash in Carve. Again, they are different, but once blended out, they do look quite similar, don't they? And I've got one here from Gen C. This is in the shade Reef. So this one seems to be quite similar here to the last one. Irene, the neutral peachy beige. There it is blended out. So that's Gen C Reef. And the last one I'm going to look at is one of the Colour Fix matte creams from Danessa Myricks. This one is in the shade Fantasy. It's one of my favourite bases for creating a sort of smoky eye. So here we have Fantasy. Again, not really a match for any of the Lisa Eldridge, but probably closest to this one here, the deep golden brown Gaia. But again, different. So it does look to me, even though obviously there are other shades and other makes you can look at. Certainly in my collection, it's looking like the shades from Lisa are pretty different. They are not an exact match for anything in my collection, which is great news for me. And if you already have any of these in your collection, you will find these just a bit different. I'll see what the dry down is like as well. So I'll leave these to dry down because obviously the Lisa Eldridge has been drying down now for over an hour. So I will try my best not to disturb that so we can look at the end to see if the dry down is similar between them. So now let's try them on. So I'm going to try two on and take them off. So I'm actually going to show you the taking off process as well so you can see if they're difficult to take off. So I'm going to start with this one, the darkest out of the four I got. So this is Gaia, the golden brown. And I watched Lisa's video yesterday launching these and all she did was just pop it on like that and she said to use your fingers, which is something I tend to do with the Armani ones and I find they blend out very nicely. So let's see how the deep shade goes. I've got to be honest, I'm already feeling like I need a brush because it's too deep for me to blend this one out. Anyway, let's keep going. It's because I prefer to use brushes, to be honest. But with Armani I don't, so. It's going on, it feels a little bit wet as you first apply it, but then as you rub it out, it immediately starts to dry out. Not bone dry, but it's already feeling quite dry there on my lid. Don't know how much time I'd have to work with this. I'm going to use my Merit No. 2 brush now and just try to start shaping this out because I do feel like I'm going to run out of time a little bit because it does already feel dry actually. There's some movement in it still, but it's starting to tug a little bit on the skin. So for me, these dry down very quickly. Now because this is a deep shade, I don't think applying this with my finger was the best idea because I've got a little bit here and I wouldn't like to have so much of the deep shade there. I'd rather it get lighter as I go here. But I just want to show you what these look like all over the lid. So if I was going to use this, I would put a little bit less on. I would definitely use the Merit No. 2 brush or something similar that is very good with creams. And I would emphasize the colour here and here, bringing it out to the outer V, and then just take what's left on the brush and go there, because I feel like I've just got a little bit too much in this area here, which is the area I personally don't like to have it. It feels completely dry. So this can be used as a base, and it's supposed to be very smoothing. It's supposed to get rid of any of the wrinkles on your eyes, very mature skin friendly. And if you have an oily base, this could be a perfect option in theory. Let's try it out, but it feels very drying. But I must say though, I would definitely again need to go in with some sort of concealer, because I like to conceal these veins here in my eyes, and I've left it completely because of trying this on. So I would like to have a concealer base really, but then you can't powder down so easily. So I'm not sure how I would manage that. So maybe watch out for my end of month review. I will try these out a bit more and I'll get back to you, because I would like to have concealer or a primer that's very concealing, and I'd need to set it down really to put this on top. But I might not have to. I might be able to just do, in fact, the way to sort this out is to do this on the other eye, isn't it? Let's try this. So I'm going to put a bit of concealer here so that I can try to disguise all the veins I don't want to see in my eyelid and above my eyelid. And I'll leave that a minute just to sink in and finish the eye on this side. I'm going to try putting, I don't know if it's too thick for me again to run under there. Yeah, it is too thick for me. I'd need to go in with this pen, this brush rather, the thin end of the brush. Yeah, that works. That's really nice actually under the eye. But I definitely think that that's too thick to work under the eye, depending on what you're looking for, I suppose. But I'll take the fluffier end to try and buff this out a bit. I will actually link this Merit No. 2 brush down below for you actually, because it is without a doubt the best brush in my whole collection for this exact job. So anyway, this is how Gaia is looking. It is really beautiful. For me personally, because it's so deep, as I said, I want it to be lighter in the inner corner. And one of the ways I would wear this would be to put some sort of shimmer over the top. So I've just got my Moon Dust palette here, and that's got the Star Cowgirl in it, which everyone loves. So I think I'm going to try the Star Cowgirl just to show you how you could use this with a shimmer. So I'm rubbing this across and literally getting none of the eyeshadow coming onto my finger, because it really has dried down. So that is how Gaia is looking with a bit of sparkle on the top. So you could just leave it as is, maybe as a day look with a slightly lighter inner corner, and then go in with a shimmer for an evening look, or you could have this as your day look. Personally, this would be my day look. And then obviously then you can add your eyeliner and mascara. I won't be doing that today because the washing off is going to be hard enough on my eyes, so that's the best I can do to show you. Anyway, definitely a very usable shade. I actually love the way it lines. I think it's perfect underneath as a lining shade. Really, really like that. So let's try it on the other side now. I'm not going to powder down the concealer I've put, so it's not set. So I just want to experiment really to see how that works. So on this side, I'm going to try Ione, the Cool Mauve Grey, and I'm going to see, I think this is, I'm going to do exactly what I said I would have done on the other side. So I'm going to put that much just there. I'm just going to brush off that Merit No. 2. And now I'm going to use this. Build up in the outer V first, as I said I should have done on the other side. It's looking like a lovely colour, so easy as well. Look how quickly and easily that's just blended straight in where I wanted it. And now just start to bring it down to the inner corner area and the rest of the lid when I've got less on the brush. And that has worked fine on top of my concealer. So there we have the answer, because I didn't really want to have concealer, powder, then the liquid, because that could have affected the finish. So if you do want to hide any of the veins like I did, you can use concealer underneath and it seems to work absolutely fine. So that's great news, and it shows that this is quite a flexible sort of formula. So just pop some on the small end of this Merit No. 2 brush. And now I'm going to use it to line. You see how by doing that it's actually given me a bit more depth, and I can almost create a sort of wing effect because I've just got that bit more pigment by applying it using this end of the brush. I love that actually. I really love that. And how quick was that? So far, Ione is definitely my favourite. I love this. I think that is really pretty. So I think with a little bit of eyeliner, maybe just to deepen a little bit by the lashes and mascara, that would be a very good day look. But like I did with the other one, I will put a topper on. This time I'm going to go in with Space Cowboy from this palette. And let's see how that looks over the top. So there it is with a bit of sparkle over the top. Love it. I really do. That is oh, I love it. I think that's a perfect, easy look, and it just feels so dried down. It really does. I can imagine these locking down for a very long time. Like I said, these have been on my hand for an hour. I mean, I'm quite tempted to almost leave this on all day and to put an update for you in the comments, which I could pin to tell you how it lasted. Obviously, I'll be washing my hands, but I'd just be interested to see what the sort of dry down really is, because that tests it a lot on the back of the hand, doesn't it? But it feels extremely dried down. And I love the way it's just really smoothed out my lid so that when I add shimmer, the shimmer's not emphasising the lines. So that people with mature skin or wrinkly lids like I've got, I think you're going to adore this. I really do. So I'm going to take both of these looks off to try the next two on, but I'm going to show you just so you might see whether it's easy or not to do it, because of the dry down it seems so locked in. So I've just got a makeup removing wipe, which wouldn't be my preference. I prefer to use a nice cleanser, but I don't want to disturb all of the rest of my makeup. It's looking like it's coming off quite easily actually. And underneath the eye there. It's nearly off. Well, there we go, that removed very easily. So it locks in, dries down, and it removes without me needing to go in with any sort of heavy duty removal oils or anything. So that's really good news. I'll just do the other one. See how that first swipe has pretty much taken it off? Really good news. I'll just finish this up and I'll be back to try the next two. So I've gone back in now with concealer. The only area I'd say that was a little bit tricky and hasn't maybe completely gone is where I used it to line here with the Gaia deeper shade. So I think I might need an oil to really get in there. Anyway, I'll leave it like that for now. I think that's fine. One thing as well, as I was off camera, I just went in now to put the Merit number 2 link in for you, and I was actually going to link the Moon Dust palette just in case you were curious, and it does seem to be out of stock everywhere at the moment, so it just says unavailable, so it will be coming back, so sorry about that. But that is the Moon Dust Space Rider. But if any shimmers in your collection obviously would work, including the shimmers that I'll be showing you in the Fawn palette. So I haven't put any concealer on the lid here. I'll explain why in a minute, but on the side I'm going to try this one. So this one is Irene, the Neutral Peachy Beige. So these two I'm trying on now are the two shades that are probably most suitable for my skin tone as a base shade. And this is how I tend to use Camel with the Armani. So I'm going to take my brush now. Again, it's working beautifully on top of the concealer. Just look how quickly that is just literally done. I don't feel like I've got to do anything else. If you want one of the quickest eye looks ever, just for a sort of natural, no makeup day where you just want a little touch of colour, just want to go in maybe with liner and mascara and make a really quick, easy look, that's it. It really is done. I will build it up a bit more just to see. So with the last two shades, I didn't build them up because I felt that they were deep enough for me. These shades are definitely buildable, going by the way they have so much more depth when I use them as a liner. So there it is, built up a bit more. That is a beautiful starting shade for me personally. I would go in with a bit more. The only thing I would say is the dry down is fairly quick. So I would never coat both lids, do one at a time. Still a little bit tacky, so you do have some time. You've got a few minutes, I'd say, so it's not a mad rush. At the same time, you're not likely to go wrong and panic because look, it's just so easy. I'll use the thin end of the brush now to see if I can... This isn't lining particularly, this is just something I do with all my base shades, just going under, make it a bit cohesive. So obviously this isn't deep enough to be a liner. Oh, that is beautiful. That is a beautiful base. So I'm going to try the other one now so we can compare the two. The reason I didn't put concealer on this one was because I think the other one's closer to my skin tone. It might act as a sort of concealer and cover up everything, so we'll see. So now I'm going in with Phoebe. This is the Warm Light Camel. So when I said this one was like Camel in Armani, it's more like cashew, not camel. So this is the shade, I think, from looking at the way it's swatched, that when I blend it out would be the better match for my skin tone as a sort of base shade, because it'll be that little bit lighter. It's not a match for my skin tone. I'm going to really take this pretty much all over to see if it's going to get rid of all of the veins in my eyes, and it looks like it is actually. So I don't need a concealer with this one, so it's giving me that base. Now this one I think I probably, now I've seen it, I probably could have got away with doing that there too, so I would probably say with both of these you wouldn't need to do anything about concealing if you do have any sort of veins or darkness or purple that you want to conceal like I do. And then again, like with the other one, I'm going to run this underneath. So here we have Phoebe and here we have Irene. I'm not sure if both would work. Do you know, I was going to take Irene off and do Phoebe on both sides before I do the eyeshadow, but now I've seen that they're both so good as a base, I'm actually going to leave both on. Might give me a slightly strange look, but then you can see how the eyeshadow sits on both of them. So I'm going to completely leave it. And I would not be powdering down on top of this because of the dry down, so hopefully that will work okay with the eyeshadows. So far I'd say these are working as well as my absolute favourite, which is the Armani. I'd say the dry down on these is a little bit better, and possibly the perfecting of the lines in your eyes is a bit better as well. Just look at that. This is going to be your absolute best friend if you've got eyelids like mine, and I think from first impressions, this could take the top spot from Armani for me, and that's the first time that's ever happened. Very, very impressed. So let's now look at this Fawn eyeshadow palette, and before I start I'll show you my swatch video. So here it is. So there is the swatch video for you, and I actually uploaded that this morning and somebody commented asking me to compare the eyeshadow colours with these from the Natasha Denona. Now this was the Natasha Denona Hyper Natural Face Palette, which launched around February this year. So I'll swatch these just so you can see if there's any similarities. So obviously the key difference here is that the Natasha Denona is cream, so a different formula, but it's just a question, so I thought I'd do this now. And if I do a sweep across the three bronzers, just to give you an idea of what the bronzer looks like, which is actually the shade I use in the crease when I use these. So these are all the shades from that palette, and here is the Lisa Eldridge palette. A lot more pigment straight away from these. So here is the comparison. There's definitely some similarities. I think the deepest shade in Lisa Eldridge is definitely stronger than the deepest in the Natasha Denona. The bronzer in the Natasha Denona is a bit of a match here for the light matte brown. And this shimmer here is slightly similar to this shimmer. In some ways you've sort of got it in the Natasha, but the Natasha pink is very different. This one here is actually, this one here is actually the duochrome in the Lisa Eldridge, and at the moment that's how it's looking. So on my inner arm I can't see any pink at all there, so we'll see how it looks on the eye. That was the duochrome, so I thought I'd swatch it here just to show you, because it is pinky but you can only see it in different lights. So on my inner arm there you could only see the sort of browny shade, but it does have that pink shift in it. So this palette is added to the collection that launched, I think it's 2 years ago now. I think it was. And there were 6 shades, I believe. So this is a new one. And I think there's another 2 coming from Lisa over the next few months, hopefully. But these are £49 and they've got this lovely, lovely packaging. A nice stand-up mirror, quite a handy size actually for doing your eyes. Very useful for travel, this one. And you can pop them out here because all of her palettes are interchangeable, so you can mix them into your own colour stories, but also they're refillable. So every single shade released by Lisa is available as a single shadow purchase, which I think is a really good idea and quite rare actually. So if you've got a favourite and you hit pan, you can just buy that shade rather than replacing the whole palette. So Lisa's description on this is your essential natural palette for defining and sculpting an everyday look. Ultra flattering matte neutrals that don't lean too warm or too cool, with additional pops of shimmer in understated tones. It's the embodiment of quiet luxury for the eyes. These are also talc and microplastic free. And a quote from Lisa, this was inspired by the chic elegance of uptown New York during the Fitzgerald era. Whether you're sculpting a simple eye or aiming for smoky drama, this palette allows for versatility and sophistication with its predominantly neutral tones inspired by the city's iconic brownstone buildings. Additional touches of understated shimmer and sparkling glamour make this the embodiment of quiet luxury for the eyes. So there we are. That's from Lisa. She always words things so beautifully and always makes me so interested, especially the way she attaches her colour stories, the way she's inspired by history and in this case buildings. I love it, I really do. I love that about Lisa. So I'm going to start with the lightest matte. This one is called Upper West Side and this is a velvet finish. So I'm taking a fluffy brush. This is my BK Beauty 202. So obviously I've already got quite a decent bit of colour from my base, but it's feeling very comfortable attaching the powder straight away here. It doesn't feel like I've got anything on actually, you know, this base, it's like it's a completely invisible base. It's going on very nicely. Just giving a little bit more depth there, but not a lot. I'd say they're quite close in colour, the two here. And run a bit underneath with my wrapper number 3. So my T3 brush from Sony G, I'll go into the next one. This is called Supernaturally and it's described as a seamless matte. I'm just going to build up a little bit more now here. So this shade just gives a tiny bit more depth than the other one, so not a huge difference. So personally I would choose one or the other. So I won't run this one underneath because I haven't really noticed a big difference between the two in all honesty. I'll just quickly swatch the two together because we're not getting a true picture here. Let's see if I've got anywhere left I can swatch. Have I got any space here? So here are the two together. So they are different. The reason they don't look very different on me is because I've got that base. So I think if I didn't use the liquid silk as a base, I would be using the lightest one that I started with as my transition shade and then building a bit more depth with this one. So they would work very nicely for that, but I'm just not able to show you that because my base is already there with the liquid silk. I'm going to take a little bit of this Dorian, which is described as a luster. I'm going to pop some here to see if I can get a bit of depth. Yeah, I can definitely get a bit of depth with this. Yeah, this gives a real depth to the corner of the eye. Very good for smoking out. And I'll go back in with a fluffy brush now to blend this into the outer V and then slightly bring it across there. With the wrapper number 3, run a little bit underneath but stop there, just that little bit there. So now I'm going to take Debutante, which is a satin formula duo shifting shade, as we've already seen swatched out. So I'm going to take this on my finger and I'm going to pretty much take this across most of the lid, going a little bit less heavily on the outer edge, but hopefully this will blend in nicely with that deeper shade I've used in that there to smoke out. See how when you blend the two together it just makes that effect with the sort of smoky corner work together beautifully. So this is not a really bright shimmer. It's not one of these really shocking ones. It's very subtle, very elegant, very Lisa really. And I've got some on the wrapper number 3 brush and I'm going to run this underneath as well, just matching above and below together. Now with my 207 BK Beauty brush, going into white tie. This is a luminous powder, and I'm going to use this for a pop of brightness here in the inner corner. Just giving me that little pop of light. And I'm going to take a little bit of this under the brow as well, because I think it's that perfect sort of shade for that. Lovely. And I'm also going to take some on my little finger here and just put a little dab in the middle to see if it gives a bit of a pop of light, which it does. Oh, I like that. And I've had no fallout with anything from this whole palette, which is fabulous. So now I'm going to go in with the liner shade for me. This could be used as a smoking out shade, but it's a bit too deep for that for me. But it's a perfect liner, which makes this whole palette very, very comprehensive for me. I can do everything I need for my eyes without reaching for any other products, which is brilliant. So this one is called Clove, I think. Yeah, this is called Burnt Clove Seamless Matte. And I remember in the video, Lisa said that this is called Burnt Clove because it's a nod towards the Edwardian, I think she said, makeup trend of using burnt clover as eyeliner. So I didn't know that. So again, I love the fact that Lisa is such a passionate person about the history of makeup and looking into the past and how we've sort of grown over the years and changed things. So I love that because I didn't know they used to do that. So apparently burnt clove was actually used back in the day by us ladies as a liner. So this should be matching the sort of shade that they achieved then. And so far that's looking like a perfect sort of liner shade. I'm not going to take it too deep. This could get quite deep. It's a very rich colour. I'm quite happy with the look already. I don't want it to get any deeper. So I'm slightly winging it out here. Not too much. And then I'm going to bring it across to line with the lashes. This is soft enough to be used to line across the entire eye. It's a perfect shade for it actually. So that is how this eye look is looking before mascara. I love it, and that pop of light just finished it off for me perfectly. So that is the final look with mascara, and I really, really love this eyeshadow look. I think it's perfect. It definitely is one of these palettes where you can go day to night, and it's got everything you need in it. You do not need a liner, which I love. You don't need anything for the inner corner or under the brow because it's got you covered. So this is my perfect sort of palette from that respect. And I think this is perfect if you really want something that is just for a very casual look or a very glam look. So you can do everything with this. Like one thing I would do, for instance, would be to use this one for the transition, build up a bit of depth with that, and then you could leave it, or you could just go with this one here across the whole lid to give a light shimmer across the whole lid, and that would be a more soft look. And obviously today I've used both of these, but you could go with just this as a one and done sort of shade maybe, but maybe this is your transition, so just these two and then a pop of brightness in the inner corner. Lots of different options here, so you can really take this from a complicated look using everything like I've just done now, which for me would be my evening glam look, or you can have that sort of really soft, subtle, everyday going to work vibe. So this covers you for everything. Beautiful formulas, no fallout. It just looks stunning. I love it. I really, really do love it actually. I think it's perfect, and I think it's really nice for this time of year. Very sort of autumn, winter friendly shades, because this isn't necessarily a look I would go for in the summer. So yeah, I think this has been launched at just the right time. I think it's perfect, perfect for autumn. And as for these liquid silk eyeshadows, again, phenomenal. So as you've seen, I've used the lightest two as a base here, and it hasn't made an awful lot of difference to the way that this is looking. So they both work as a really good base. Now the colour you're seeing at the very top of the eye here, that is definitely coming from that base, because I didn't take the shadow that high up. So it really is giving me that perfect base. It's making it easier for me, because the other thing I could do with this, which would be super easy, would be to just go in with this base and then just take one of these shimmers like that pink duochrome over the whole lid. and that's another look done, because as I showed you today, I used other shimmers, but you could easily use the ones from this. I didn't want to do that today because I wanted to show them to you for the first time in full use with the whole palette, but either of these two shimmers would be really, really nice across any of these liquid silks. I would try them out. I would just have a good play with them if you get both of these, because that's the way I would like to wear them. I think that for me, these liquid silks are definitely bases, and I would go in with a shimmer. But if you're just looking for that really soft, fairly natural look, the lighter shades will be perfect for you. Just as a little wash of colour and you're good to go, with a little bit of just normal bronzer and foundation maybe, or even just skin tint, just a tap of bronzer, a little bit of liquid silk, good to go. Really perfect, and I just love the way they've dried down. I love the way that my eyelids are just not looking as crepey, I suppose is the word. They're definitely looking better. I really think they do. So I don't know what you think if you've watched my channel and seen me before, but I really think my eyelids look better. So very impressed. I think if you've got oily lids as well, this would be a really good option for you. So I love these, I really do. I was taking my Armani on holiday because I love to have a sort of matte base with a shimmer as a quick, easy, reliable look on holiday. But I'm going to be taking these now, I think. So there we go. That's how good they are. And here they all are on the back of my hand, as you know. So I'm just going to see how dried down all of the ones I've tried are. And probably the best way to do that, I mean, obviously I can do this, but if I go like this to see if they move, let's see how they all do. So I'm going to get rougher. Now where it's moved off with the Lisa Eldridge is where I had a little bit of a thick layer, to be fair. So the rubbed in is probably the better way of checking this, because it is a bit flaky where I had it too thick. So let's rub over these, because that's probably a much better way of showing you. Well, as you can see, nothing is changing here. It's only where it broke off where I had it too thick, so I think ignore that. They are the 4 shadows from Lisa, and they're absolutely not budging. These are the 2 from Armani. They don't budge either. That's why I love the Armani ones. And this was the Hindash. That's not budging. And this is the Gen C. That one's coming off a bit, but again, it was a thick layer, so I'll just go over it. So that one doesn't either. And then this is the one from Danessa Myrex. So I can't say that Lisa is better than any of them, because all the ones in my collection are superb at drying down and lasting. They all are. So I don't think it's better. So if you've got any of these and you love them and you don't want an upgrade, then I don't think it's better from that respect. But what I think is better is Lisa talked about a special ingredient. I can't think of the name of it now, but it was something she said she makes a tea with, and it was an ingredient she'd researched into, and that is what she put into the eye cream as the sort of skincare side of it. So there's something different, and I think that's very obvious in the way you see that this treats the eye and the way that it seems to just smooth out the lines. So there's something very special about these, and I think if you get them you will not be disappointed. So anyway, I have absolutely loved this video. Always love a Lisa Eldridge release, and I've not been at all disappointed. I've got new favourites already, so I'm really excited about this one. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I do hope it's been helpful to you. I'd love to hear from you down below in the comment section. Have you picked any of them up? Will you be picking them up? Which ones are catching your eye? And what are your thoughts generally of the whole collection? One note on Lisa's concealer, by the way. You may have been expecting that, and Lisa was expecting to get it out, but she just wants to make sure everything's perfect. So it's going to be delayed until early next year. So if you're looking out for that, hopefully around January, February maybe. But I'm sure she'll keep us informed. But yeah. Anyway, so if you've enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so very much for watching my videos and coming back. I really do appreciate you all very much. And I hope to see all of you again for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.